Kyle David Watson, age 34, was a study in contradictions. Despite being a college dropout, he possessed remarkable business acumen. His intellect clashed with his struggles to maintain focus in academic settings. Standing tall at 6 feet 2 inches with a muscular physique, his quiet demeanor seemed at odds with his imposing physical presence. His fascination with gadgets contrasted with his athletic prowess, and his disinterest in team sports contradicted his athletic build. Despite his boyish looks and casual attire, he exuded maturity beyond his years. His shyness around women belied their attraction to him. Seated calmly at the bar, Kyle's demeanor shifted as he faced his tormentor, a man who had been involved with his wife. The man's arrogance grated on Kyle, compounded by his overpowering cologne. Despite his anger, Kyle had no intention of risking a physical altercation and finished his bourbon before abruptly standing. As he turned, Kyle saw exactly what he expected, the younger man flanked by friends, towering over him in both height and weight, his smirk provoking Kyle further. They agreed to meet at Manny's in an hour, where Kyle would have a chance to confront him in the ring. October 6, 2011 marked the day Kyle unwittingly lost his wife. At an office holiday party, he witnessed her kissing a much older business associate. The moment was fraught with tension, evident in her panicked expression and the associate's fear. Later, at home, she tearfully apologized to Kyle, who accepted her apology without further discussion. In hindsight, it may have been a mistake, but at the time, it felt like enough. October 6, 2011, held a mix of emotions for Kyle, despite initially not feeling like a bad day. Witnessing his wife kiss another man stirred jealousy, anger, and sickness in his stomach, yet he welcomed these feelings as a stark contrast to the emptiness he had endured for the past 9 months. It had been a period of profound loss and disconnection since the tragic accident that took his 9-year-old daughter, Emily. Emily possessed a radiant smile, curly brunette locks, and an enchanting voice that could charm anyone. Stubborn yet endlessly curious, she had a way of melting her father's heart with her glacial blue eyes, but Kyle only felt her absence when his heart ached. The accident that claimed Emily's life wasn't the result of recklessness. The teenage driver, in his first year behind the wheel of a clunky car, couldn't have stopped in time on the snowy hill where Emily had been sledding with Dana's parents. Despite the extensive flat land and snowbanks meant to prevent such tragedies, Emily's sled continued its descent unchecked. Charles Whitmore III, Dana's father, recounted the heartbreaking incident to Kyle numerous times, each retelling accompanied by apologies and tears. They had been preparing to leave when Emily, filled with youthful bravado, raced to the top of the hill and launched herself headfirst onto her sled, oblivious to the danger. In the aftermath, questions of what if haunted everyone involved. What if Charles hadn't tripped? What if Emily had been slightly older or heavier, or if she had reached out to touch the snow? The answer remained elusive, lost amidst the cacophony of screams, brakes, and sirens that marked the tragic end of Emily Christine Watson's life on January 6, 2011, just shy of her 10th birthday. What could have been rarely crossed Kyle's mind when he allowed himself to ponder. Emily's premature birth, 6 weeks ahead of schedule, plunged them into a whirlwind of medical terms and procedures as doctors scrambled to ensure her survival. Preeclampsia, severe hypertension, cesarean section, hemorrhage, hysterectomy, the vocabulary of crisis expanded with each passing moment. Yet, against the odds, both mother and daughter eventually made it home from the hospital, marking the beginning of a new chapter. Emily's tiny size posed challenges. She couldn't nurse properly, prompting Kyle to step in. With his wife pumping breast milk, Kyle meticulously fed Emily through a syringe, allowing her to suckle on his pinky finger while carefully administering the nourishment. This ritual not only nourished Emily but also cemented their familial bond, mother, father, and daughter, navigating the early hurdles of parenthood together. The ensuing 9 years raced by, filled with cherished moments and the love radiating from Emily and Dana. Kyle found solace and stability in their affection, though he couldn't help but yearn for the sound of Emily's voice calling out "Daddy," or the sight of his wife's contented smile as she watched them play. Meanwhile, counseling sessions with Dana yielded little progress. Kyle hoped for a breakthrough, exploring options like adoption or fostering, or simply coming to terms with their loss. However, Dana remained distant, retreating into her work, socializing, and other distractions, leaving Kyle unsettled by her behavior and the lingering unease in their relationship. Enter Miguel Manny Martinez, a formidable figure with a troubled past turned community leader and renowned trainer. Despite his imposing stature and intimidating backstory, Kyle knew he wouldn't be Manny's latest protege in boxing or mixed martial arts. After the dedication ceremony for the new safety features at Hyde Memorial Park, Manny approached Kyle. Observing Kyle's speech, Manny sensed a deep-seated pain, recognizing it from the countless families he had encountered who had lost children to violence. Feeling a sense of duty to help, Manny reached out to Kyle, initiating a series of conversations that eventually blossomed into an unexpected camaraderie. Their initial interactions were brief, marked by introductions and expressions of sympathy. However, an unlikely bond formed between the man coping with the loss of his child and the man who had witnessed too many young lives lost to the streets. It was Manny who proposed that Kyle join his gym as a means of coping with stress. "The sweat will do wonders for you. Trust me," Manny assured Kyle. True to Manny's words, the rigorous workouts served as a cathartic release for Kyle. His first session, designed to push him to physical exhaustion, left him sore but rejuvenated. Manny not only trained Kyle but also supported him, driving him home and ensuring he rested properly, leading to Kyle's first restful night's sleep in nearly a year. Despite his lack of prowess in the ring, Kyle continued to show up at the gym night after night, finding solace in training, sparring, and engaging in meaningful conversations. Though Kyle's fighting skills were lacking, Manny found solace in Kyle's genuine kindness and lack of aggression, a refreshing departure from the norm in his line of work. Later, Kyle received a breakup call from Dana, an act he found both pathetic and cliché, prompting him to reflect on his own happiness. While initially taken aback, Kyle ultimately accepted Dana's decision, acknowledging that their relationship was no longer fulfilling for either of them. Despite Dana's amicable demeanor, Kyle couldn't shake the feeling of rejection, realizing that their romantic connection had faded. At 20 years old, Kyle made the unconventional decision to drop out of college during his junior year. Despite the skepticism from others, he couldn't bring himself to attend classes he despised with professors he didn't respect. He felt disconnected from his coursework, viewing it as irrelevant to real-world applications. Kyle anticipated taking a semester break, hoping to reevaluate his academic path later. His journey took an unexpected turn when he landed a job in the mailroom of a company. Transitioning from an administrative role to the technical side of the business was rare, but Kyle defied the odds. One pivotal moment occurred when he overheard a frustrated colleague discussing a major account issue. The client demanded a new software platform and equipment worth $250,000 but experienced daily complaints about distorted images. Despite not being directly involved in the conversation, Kyle interjected with insights from an article he had read about compatibility issues between specific monitors and video cards. His unexpected contribution impressed his colleague, leading to further discussion and ultimately the promotion to the technical help desk. Kyle's knack for problem-solving and his ability to connect with people propelled him through the ranks. Within 2 years, he became the youngest senior project leader in the company's history. His newfound success brought financial stability, a home, a car, and even a dog, surprising friends and colleagues alike. Despite his achievements, Kyle felt a void until one random afternoon in June when she appeared unexpectedly, sitting on his porch. Kyle sat in his car, engine still running, as he gazed at her in silence. Despite her attempt to reach out a month after their breakup, he ignored her call, deleting the message unheard. Welcoming her into his house without a word, Kyle served her orange juice while opting for ice water himself. The tension hung heavy as they sat at the kitchen table, each struggling to find the right words. Dana eventually broke the silence, expressing regret for her actions, but Kyle's pent-up emotions erupted in a passionate kiss, stifling her attempts at apology. Within 9 months, they were married, and a year later, Emily joined their lives. 3 months post-kiss, their relationship seemed to improve, with Dana displaying glimpses of their past happiness. However, beneath the surface, Kyle sensed her struggles, silent tears in the shower, lost thoughts mid-conversation, casting doubt on their fragile reunion. Seeking guidance, Kyle turned to their therapist, desperate for reassurance. Despite Dana's outburst and reluctance to address the issue, Kyle pleaded for any sign of progress, clinging to hope amidst the uncertainty of their reconciliation. Kyle's desperation was palpable, and Dr. Harris felt torn. While he wished he could breach confidentiality to provide solace to the shattered man before him, ethical constraints tied his hands. Over the years, he had counseled countless cases, from addictions to infidelities, but none as heart-wrenching as Kyle's. "I'm sorry, Kyle. I can't do that, ethically." Kyle's heavy sigh resonated deeply, echoing his inner turmoil. "I understand, document thanks. I'll try to be patient. See you next week." After their session, Kyle's facade crumbled. Dana's frequent late nights out, her dismissive comments, and her blatant flirtation at the bar pushed Kyle to his breaking point. The darkness loomed around him as he watched Dana leave the bar with another man, a cruel display meant to hurt him. Seeking an outlet, Kyle headed to Manny's gym, surprising both Manny and himself. Despite the uneasy feeling about a smug newcomer, Kyle was determined to step into the ring, fueled by a mix of frustration and a need for release. The gym buzzed with its usual energy, filled with laughter, banter, and playful antics. Amidst the jovial atmosphere, Kyle sat alone on a bench, lost in thought. Jake Lichty, brimming with eagerness, bounded into the ring without bothering to warm up. Jorge, a trainer, checked his gear with a shake of his head as Jake shadowboxed, exuding confidence. "Calm down, Rocky, no one's even up to spar a ton." Jorge's words trailed off as he noticed Kyle stepping into the ring. What's up, homie?" Kyle remained composed as Jorge inspected him. "You all right, Kyle?" "Fine, man. Just fine." 3 minutes? 5. "Whatever, Holmes. That's a big lug over there." With the ring bell ringing, Manny watched from the sidelines as Jake lunged with a roundhouse, only to be met by Kyle's swift jab and a powerful body shot. Kyle danced away gracefully, drawing praise from Manny. "Damn, Kyle. Shots like that almost make me forget you can't fight worth a shit." As the round progressed, Kyle sustained a minor injury under his left eye but maintained his composure. Meanwhile, Jake struggled on his stool, nursing a bleeding lip and enduring the aftermath of Kyle's relentless assault. During the break, Kyle issued a challenge to Jake, who responded with defiance. However, Jake soon realized his grave mistake as Kyle effortlessly outmaneuvered him, leaving Jake gasping for air and reeling from the onslaught. Reflecting later, Jake acknowledged his grave miscalculation, realizing he had underestimated Kyle in every aspect: size, skill, endurance, and determination. Despite his size advantage, Jake fell victim to Kyle's superior technique and unwavering resolve, learning a hard lesson in the process. Kyle swiftly shifted his position, overpowering Jake and sending him crashing to the ground. With Jake pinned beneath him, Kyle unleashed a flurry of punches, each blow landing with precision. "Manny! Manny!" Jorge's urgent cries pierced the air as he realized the severity of the situation, but his call for help came too late. Kyle maintained his dominance, relentlessly pounding Jake's defenseless form. As Kyle's assault continued, Jake's attempts to shield himself proved futile. Transitioning seamlessly, Kyle secured Jake in a submission hold, his movements calculated and efficient. With a swift twist, Kyle applied pressure, causing Jake's arm to snap audibly. The sound of Jake's scream filled the gym as Manny rushed down the stairs, arriving just in time to witness the devastating injury. Exiting the ring with a sense of detachment, Kyle retrieved his belongings and left the gym, devoid of any remorse. This was what Dana desired, a man who could overpower her husband, someone she could control and manipulate. As she and Jake entered the house, Dana wasted no time in initiating their encounter. With calculated movements, she stripped away her clothing, reveling in her dominance over him. As she stood before Jake, basking in her control, Dana's smirk conveyed her satisfaction with the power she held over him. Kyle wasn't overly concerned at first. It was unusual for Dana to miss her appointment with Dr. Harris, but when he called her office, he was told she had gone home sick. Kyle couldn't help but wonder if it was another hangover. However, he was annoyed to find the garage door open when he got home, and the unlocked front door only added to his irritation. He couldn't help but wonder where Dana was and what she was thinking, leaving the doors unlocked like that. As he walked down the hallway, loosening his tie, he noticed the open door at the end of the hallway and recalled seeing something on the floor earlier. When he retraced his steps and saw the fabric on the floor, his worry started to grow. Meanwhile, Dana was in a state of panic. With only 2 hours left before Kyle's return, she rushed home, barely noticing the closed garage door. She fumbled with her keys at the front door and raced down the hallway. In a frenzy, she stripped the bedding, closed the door, and ran back to the dining room to discard her clothes. Then, realizing something was missing, she frantically searched the hallway floor. Suddenly, she heard Kyle's voice. Panicking, she covered herself, only to find him sitting in the living room holding a pair of panties. "You missed your appointment, dear." Dana tried to explain, but Kyle accused her of being with someone else. Despite her attempts to reach out, Kyle's anger escalated, and he demanded she leave. As she dressed and left the house in tears, Dana felt too ashamed to call her friends or family. In a moment of desperation, she called Jake, hoping for help, but he only made matters worse by answering the call. When Kyle missed their next counseling session, Dana understood the significance. Her emotional conversation with Dr. Harris marked the beginning of her journey to confront her struggles and seek healing. 2 weeks later, the divorce petition arrived, and Kyle informed Dana to ensure she received it at her parents' house. Seeing Jake at the movie theater with injuries from a recent car accident, Dana felt a sense of unease as he quickly walked away from her. Kyle accepted a plea deal for misdemeanor disturbing the peace, leading to a pretrial diversion program and ongoing counseling with Dr. Harris. Meanwhile, many sentenced Kyle to community service and a year without gym access, though he continued training Kyle privately. After 10 months of negotiations, Dana agreed to the divorce terms, requesting a final meeting with Kyle. In the conference room, they discussed Emily's death and shared fond memories of her. "Dana, I'm genuinely sorry for everything. I've made progress in counseling, and I'd do anything for another chance with you," Kyle expressed. Reflecting on their shared history, Kyle acknowledged his enduring love for Dana. Despite the challenges they faced, he cherished their past together. "Dana, you were my first love and the love of my life. Nothing will change that," Kyle reminisced. "I know. That's not what I meant, though. Do you remember how nervous we were? Two virgins, fumbling in the dark. God, it was pathetic." Kyle reminisced. Dana chuckled. "I know. It's so true. And I remember when you were pregnant and in the hospital on bed rest, and you were so sick and I was so scared. I prayed so hard that you would be okay. Because I knew I couldn't live without you, and I knew I couldn't love you any more than I did. Then we took Emily home and you made me check the car seat 4 times and wouldn't let me drive faster than 25. And I knew I was wrong and that I actually could love you more. And I did. Those are the memories I carry with me every day, and they make me smile. But then I remember that Emily died and took half my heart with her. And I needed you so much. And you blamed me for her death, for a reason that I still don't understand. Instead of finding comfort in your arms, I endured punishment after punishment from you. For an accident. For a crime I didn't commit. And then you embarrassed me, and disrespected me, and humiliated me. And I can't say that I will ever understand why. So, no matter how much I love you, and I do, and no matter how many times I forgive you, and I have, I will always, always hate you for that. Even if it's only a tiny bit. Unfortunately, as sad as that makes me, I know it's true and I think you do too." "Yeah, Kyle. I do." "In her room, Dana?" "Anywhere but her room." Dana signed the papers as she cried and left the room after giving Kyle a tender kiss on the cheek. If he had known she was going to move back to the West Coast and that he would never see her again, he might have said goodbye. A year later, Kyle found himself sitting under the shade of the massive oak trees. It was his monthly visit, and today was what would have been Emily's 13th birthday. "I brought you lilies today. Mrs. Johnson, at the flower shop, told me these are her favorite flowers. Even though Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and roses seem to be everywhere you look, I thought you might like these better. You know, to be original." "Who you talking to?" A little girl interrupted, kneeling next to him. I was talking to my daughter." "Is she in heaven like my daddy?" "Yes." Yes, she is in heaven. My mommy talks to my daddy, too. But she cries a lot while they are talking, so I decided to take a walk. Did you bring her those flowers? Yes, I did. Emily loved flowers. I like flowers, too. I have some on my dress. See? Her chubby little fingers tugged at the hem of her dress to show him. There's one. And there's one. I don't know how many there are. But there are a lot. Yes, there certainly are. My name is Brianna, and I'm 5. Well, Brianna, I think that is a beautiful name for a beautiful little girl. I'm Kyle. Do you know my mommy? She says that I'm beautiful, too. Well, your mommy sounds like a very smart woman, but I don't think we've ever met. Do you think she might be wondering where you are? I think so. But I'm not sure I should go back. She told me, stay put. And I said, yes, ma'am. 'Cause that's what you're supposed to say when you're being good. But I got bored, and now I am here with you. So she is going to be in a mood when I get back. Well, maybe you and I should go together, so that she won't be worried. We can check her mood together, okay? Okay. Maybe we should bring flowers. My daddy always brought my mommy flowers when he was in trouble. That sounds like a very good idea. Kyle thought it best to head back to the caretaker's house at the main gate. He was sure that's where a mother missing her child would go. Trying not to alarm the little girl, they walked back, with 3 lilies from Emily's bouquet. Midway through their journey, Brianna grabbed Kyle's hand as she struggled to balance on the damp grass in her dress shoes. Abby Jacobs realized her daughter Brianna was missing as soon as she finished crying. She hadn't meant to break down and lose control again. It had been more than a year, after all. But money was tight, the insurance money almost gone, and she was working 60 hours to make ends meet. She told her husband to sell that motorcycle, but he never listened, and her anger and frustration spilled over once again. She panicked immediately, frantically searching among the headstones for any sign of her daughter. Then, in the distance, she saw Brianna sitting on her knees in the grass talking to a man. Abby chuckled quietly at the thought that this dress would soon match all the others, with giant grass stains on the knees. She was shocked by 2 things, Brianna's bravery to wander so far and her interaction with the man. Brianna had withdrawn after her father's accident, not even standing near any man, not even her grandfather. But there she was, chatting away. Abby felt she should reclaim her daughter, but she sensed no threat from the man. She watched him carefully. After a few minutes, they started walking back, seemingly unaware of her presence. Tears welled up in Abby's eyes as they approached. Brianna held the man's hand, giggling and smiling in her dress shoes. That smile always warmed Abby's heart, and unfortunately, Brianna hadn't been smiling much lately. Abby couldn't help but giggle as she finally got a clear look at the man. Her daughter had good taste in strangers. He was tall and handsome, with jeans and a t-shirt that hinted at well-defined muscles underneath. But it was his easy stroll, gentle laugh, and warm smile as he let Brianna lead the way that stirred something in Abby's stomach, feelings she had pushed aside during her grieving process but were now rushing back. Kyle only noticed the woman watching them when they were about 20 feet away, but he spoke up as soon as he did. "Is this little one yours?" "Oh my God. Brianna, why did you wander off?" Abby raced towards her daughter, dropping to her knees to hug her tightly. "Mommy, you're squishing my guts." "Don't ever do that again, young lady." The stern tone contrasted with the smirk on the young woman's face. Kyle estimated she was in her late 20s. The blonde curls matched Brianna's, as did the green eyes and the cute demeanor. It took a tug on his pant leg to snap him out of his reverie. He looked down at Brianna's beaming smile. "We're in trouble." "Use the flowers," she whispered a bit too loudly. Okay. "Hi, I'm Kyle Watson." Kyle reached out his hand, and once he held Abby's, he found it difficult to let go. "Abby Jacobs. Thank you for bringing my daughter back." "Oh, it was no trouble. These are for you." "Why, thank you, Kyle Watson." "You're welcome, Abby Jacobs." "I'm hungry," Brianna chimed in. Kyle couldn't help but laugh, and Abby soon joined in. Brianna giggled to avoid feeling left out. "Can I buy you ladies lunch?" Abby smiled, almost in disbelief, and reached up to touch her face to confirm it was real. "Yeah, I think we'd really like that." Write your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a great day.